I just think the same thing exists for from the last conversation we said, where it's like, if you're lying to make it funnier, it's
God
great,
bless.
do it.
Do it.
And if you are lying to be some sort of hero or to increase victimization, then it's corny.
Yeah.
And I don't think he said anything in the video that disputed that.
Yeah.
Outside of the girl situation.
Okay, guys, welcome back to another video. Today, I'm finally going to address the Hasan Minhaj controversy. I've been hiding from this ever since he posted a 20-minute video last week with receipts outlining in forensic detail how Claire Malone from The New Yorker published a hit piece. That's right, it was a hit piece on Hasan Minhaj's character. And I stand here before you humbled by the truth. I've read some of your comments, and after the shame subsided and I developed the strength to pick myself up and address this issue, I'm here to right my wrongs and correct the record. Because, as you guys know, truth is everything in this game. So I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize to absolutely nobody. Hasan Minhaj is a liar and he just proved it again.
Free Hasan, like we've been saying.
Yeah, we have.
This whole time we were saying that was a lying in the New Yorker.
Yeah, absolutely.
How dare she?
Absolutely.
How dare she tell the exact truth? And then him go on camera and say, yeah, you were right, but you were wrong.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen my previous video on this controversy, you can go and check it out. It's called Andrew Schulz Roasts Hasan Minhaj. And I've got to say, even though SpongeBob Cringe Pants gets a lot of heat on this channel, his take on this whole situation has been almost completely spot on from the beginning. But let me rewind real quick and give a brief rundown of how we got here. Claire Malone from The New Yorker published an article in September exposing Hasan Minhaj for embellishing stories of racism to sensationalize his stand-up comedy specials and boost his popularity. And after over a month of being ridiculed by almost everyone, Hasan finally responded to the article in a 20-minute video posted to his YouTube channel last week titled My Response to the New Yorker article. And in the description of the video, it just says, I brought receipts.
I know the news coming out of the Middle East right now feels devastating and hopeless. And I've been asked by a lot of people to give my perspective on what is happening in the region. I've also been asked, wait a second, aren't you a liar?
But here's the thing. Despite his best efforts and perhaps the best performance of his career so far, his response video proved that the New Yorker article was right. Hasan is a liar. Well, maybe it's not quite that simple.
So to everyone who read that article, I want to answer the biggest question that's probably on your mind. Is Hasan Minhaj secretly a psycho? Underneath all that pomade, is Hasan Minhaj just a con artist who uses fake racism and Islamophobia to advance his career? Because after reading that article, I would also think that. So I took a beat before responding. Because like you, I've been paralyzed by the news coming out of the Middle East. And I've been processing all the criticism that has come my way. And I just want to say, to anyone who felt betrayed or hurt by my stand-up, I am sorry. I made artistic choices to express myself and drive home larger issues affecting me and my community, and I feel horrible that I let people down.
I don't know about you guys, but to me that sounded like an apology and an admission of guilt. But let me give you my take on what really happened here. Hasan said that he's been paralyzed by the Middle Eastern crisis and he needed time to recover from the bombshell hit piece of an article from The New Yorker. I think the reality is that him and his team were scrambling for 6 weeks to figure out a way out of this, and they were searching for these so-called receipts that he now claims to have. So I've pulled out a few short clips from his response video where he explains the truth behind his stories to show you guys why I think he's only made the situation worse for himself by proving that he really is a fake artist. Now, if you don't know the details about his stories, you can go and check out my previous video where I cover them. I'll leave a link for you in the description. And one more thing, just quickly, this video here right now is not a substitute for Hasan's full response video. So if you want to hear his full statement, you should go and watch that one in full. Again, I'll link that in the description as well. All right, let's see what he had to say.
So, in Homecoming King, I told a story about how I was supposed to go to prom with a white girl named Bethany Reed. Her real name is not Bethany. I changed it to protect her anonymity. I say that I show up at Bethany's house on prom night, but at the doorstep, her mom tells me they don't want her to go to prom with me because they'll be taking a lot of pictures and they don't want their family back home to see her with a brown boy. Bethany's mom did really say that. It was just a few days before prom. And I created the doorstep scene to drop the audience into the feeling of that moment, which I told the reporter.
Is the doorstep moment true? Like,
No,
did that happen?
No. It happened before. But the emotional truth remains the same. Her mom going, "Hey, sweetie, we take photos and we don't want people to see. We have family back home."
Did she sort of give that as the reason of like, my parents aren't comfortable with
Yes.
going to, yeah.
Yes. And it just destroyed me.
Yeah. Sure. That's understandable.
The reporter said, "It's understandable."
Okay, so here's the thing, right? It's entirely possible that brown people living in America experience racism. I don't think that's a far stretch of the imagination. The problem is when celebrities use those experiences to create other experiences that didn't happen. That was always the criticism of Hasan, and it seems to be something that he completely missed in his whole video. When it comes to activism or raising awareness or debating social and cultural issues in public, accuracy is important. There's no room for embellishment or exaggeration. Accuracy matters when it comes to these sorts of sensitive issues, especially when you're profiting from it. So I'm going to come back to that because Andrew Schulz made a couple of really good points that I want to share with you guys. But first, let's get back to Hasan and his explanations for lying to make friends.
Now, in my second special, The King's Jester, I tell a story about how I met and was harassed by an FBI informant named Brother Eric. I talk about how he tried to entrap me at a gym, and when I made fun of him, he slammed me against the hood of a cop car. The truth is, I did have altercations with undercover law enforcement growing up, and that experience formed the basis of this story. But it didn't go down exactly like this. So I understand why people are upset. People face real danger at the hands of the police, and false stories can undermine real stories. And I am sorry I added to that problem. My intention wasn't to take away from these stories. It was to spotlight them through my special. That's why I used this story to talk about Hamid Hayat. Hamid and I were part of the same NorCal Muslim community. When he got entrapped, it rocked our community, and he spent 14 years in prison.
So that right there, that proves my point exactly. There were some serious issues with police entrapment in the Muslim community, and many other communities for that matter. FBI entrapment is a massive issue all around the United States, and that affects all ethnicities and many different groups. So when Hasan uses that issue to completely make up a story, that matters. Because if he claims to be creating awareness around an issue, well, the issue has to be real. You can't just say racism exists, therefore I'm going to make up stories that aren't true in reality, but they're based on this emotional truth that I felt playing basketball one time. Therefore, police brutality. Like, dude, what are you talking about?
Now, the last story I want to talk about is the anthrax scare. My last special, I talk about how I received a letter in the mail, and when I opened the letter, white powder fell on my daughter, and we had to take her to the hospital only to find out it was not real anthrax. This, as you know, is not how it went down. And let me just say, I am sorry for embellishing the story, or if anyone was worrying about me and my family, I apologize. But let me make something clear. A letter with white powder was sent to my apartment in February of 2019. I opened it in the kitchen, powder fell on the table, and my daughter was just a few feet away. After 10 seconds of freaking out, I realized it was not anthrax and that someone was with me because people had been with me since January 1st, 2019 after this happened.
Well, Netflix under fire today after its decision to pull an episode of a comedy show that was critical of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
The truth is, when this news broke, my life got very scary. Saudi bots were spamming my socials. A threatening letter was sent to Netflix. I was getting weird phone calls at night. Then fake anthrax was sent to my house. And after that happened, I asked Netflix for our security guard to follow me everywhere, and people noticed. Friends were texting me about seeing me rolling everywhere through New York with security. And at one point, my wife even asked our security detail if he knew any companies that sold those tiny GPS trackers for strollers, because we were concerned that someone might try to kidnap or hurt our daughter. That is all real.
This guy put together a 20-minute video giving us a detailed insight into how toxic of a person he is. Let me just make something clear before I go on though. I don't wish any harm on Hasan or anything like that. I don't hate him, and I'm not suggesting that you guys should hate him either. He is what he is. He's made his bed. The reason why I'm digging into this guy so much is because he got called out by the New Yorker, then he disappeared for 6 weeks, and then he came out and doubled down on his victimhood. I mean, did you guys hear what he just said? People were mean to me, so I embellished the story? Like what? He had to get private security and he was fearful for his family's safety. Okay, fine, I understand that. Like I said, I wish nothing but a safe, healthy, and happy life for him and his family. But why does that mean you get to make stuff up? Like seriously, the guy has the logic of a toddler. But there was one thing he said that really exposed him and proved beyond any doubt that the New Yorker got it right.
I also had run-ins with undercover agents. I was even physically harassed by them while playing basketball. Now you're probably wondering, why not just say that? So this is not an excuse. It is an explanation of my process. When I am storytelling, every beat has to do multiple things in a funny and impactful way. With the story, I had to set up 3 plot points. The moment I realized authority figures hate being made fun of, why I named my show Patriot Act, and spotlight the story of Hamid Hayat. The problem is 99% of people watching Netflix have no idea the FBI spied on Muslims at mosques, or they don't even believe it was real. And I know this because when I performed earlier versions of the story in front of audiences, they had no idea what I was talking about.
Bro is blaming everyone and everything except himself. Granted, he did apologize several times in his video, but then he went on to try to justify his behavior, so it kind of cancels it out. But let me just break that down for a second. Hasan thinks that because he named his special Patriot Act and that he structures his jokes in a certain way, that somehow gives him creative license to embellish a story, pretend it's true, and then make money from it. The guy's making up his own rules as he goes. Imagine I said to you guys, oh, I named my video some random title, and then because I structure my videos in a certain way, I had to make up some story and pretend it's true so that it makes sense. That's some really warped logic. I almost feel embarrassed for him. But that brings me back to SpongeBob Cringe Pants and his reaction to Hasans Response video. And like I said at the beginning, Schulz is pretty much spot on with this.
But I gotta say, he's fantastic. Did you guys watch the video?
I watched some video.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, even though the whole time he's just saying exactly what everybody criticized him for, he's going, yeah, I did lie to increase victimization, which is the criticism. He's not saying, oh, I didn't lie to make it funner. He's like, I lied to increase victimization. And the whole time I'm watching it and going, I know you're agreeing with the criticism, but you're saying it in a way that vindicates you.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Yeah. This guy's good.
That's how I felt after.
For real.
Oh man, that's so true. It's like all these people who came out and commented on my videos trying to bully me into deleting my previous video about Hasan and saying things like, this aged well, what are you gonna do now? Did you guys actually watch his response video, or did you just read a tweet that said Hasan brought receipts? This isn't some conspiracy. Hasan himself admitted to making up stories on several occasions during that response video. That was the criticism. Did you guys watch something else? And it just goes to show that the people defending Hasan clearly share his toxic mentality that somehow experiencing some hardship in life gives you the creative license to fabricate stories. Now, some of you might be thinking, hang on a second though, Hasan's a comedian. Comedians make up stories all the time. Well, you heard Andrew Schulz just say that comedians make up stories to make something funnier, not to play the victim. And I agree with that. But I think the bigger question is, if Hasan's a comedian, why is he using a comedy special to create social awareness around culturally sensitive issues? Why not make a documentary or do a speech or write an article? Well, the answer is money. The truth of the matter is, Hasan made up those stories, pretended they were true, and he did it to lift his profile so he could earn that big payday. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a grifter. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.
The kid's good.
Yeah.
The kid's good. I think he went a little easy on the white girl, though.
She should have got it worse.
What would you have done?
I would have doxed her.
What? What? Do you know what that means?
Yup.
What does it mean?
It's when you send a white powder
No,
to their
that's not doxing.
That's not
That's
doxing.
an anthrax.
That's doxing, I thought.
not doxing.
When you send a white powder to somebody and you open it, you know how you open envelopes over your kid's head?
Yeah.
Always? You know how when you're going through mail, you put your kid right underneath it and then you open it up?
Yeah.
That's what I thought it is.
Especially when I'm getting death threats. That's why I want a daughter.
Exactly.
I just want her to open it for me.
Yeah, when I get a piece of mail from a no return address, I just get my child and then I open it up upside down over them, just in case, because you never know.